Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am not here with Geeky Sparkles. She's not feeling too well, but we're gonna talk about the comic book industry. We're gonna talk about Comics Pro, which is going on right now in Pittsburgh. And yeah, I actually went yesterday. I was there for a little bit yesterday, and we debated whether or not we should actually join the organization because technically we are a news outlet and we are a comic book publisher. So and we're also located in the Pittsburgh area. So I'm like, well, we probably should join, but I'm like, would people have a fit if we did? Because God forbid, Clownfish TV / Clownfish Studios, people who worked in the industry for years and are now critical of the industry, God forbid they dare show their faces at, a respectable comic book hoedown. But, yeah, I don't know, guys. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that came out. We're going to talk about comic book sales. And I think the industry is starting to get it. I think they're starting to get it. I think they are stopping listening to people who are giving them bad advice, if not because they want to, out of necessity. I think they've listened to the wrong people. They've listened to Twitter, and they've listened to outlets like Comics Beat, for the last 5 or 6 years to their own detriment. Now they're like, you know what? I think we need to try to get back some of those readers we alienated. I think we need to kind of pivot things, and we're going to talk about this because we're seeing kind of a return to, or at least some publishers, we're seeing a return to normalcy. We're seeing a return to traditional stories. I want to talk about Skybound and Transformers and G.I. Joe, and on no planet should Transformers and G.I. Joe be the biggest things in comics. I love Transformers. I do. I've got a massive Transformer collection. I'm a huge nerd. I love Transformers. I love G.I. Joe. That was my childhood. I was a little too young for Star Wars, like in its prime. Star Wars was out. I was a baby when the movies were out, toddler, and I saw Return of the Jedi in the theater, but I was very, very young when I saw it. And so for me, it was Transformers, G.I. Joe, He-Man. That was more my childhood even than Star Wars. And I actually came to appreciate Star Wars, I think, a lot later in life, but it was definitely Transformers and G.I. Joe. So to see them back in prime form after IDW destroyed those franchises, after IDW turned Transformers into some freaking weird ass gender politics commentary, shipping fest Tumblr comic, does my heart good, But I think that it's not going to stop here. I think that other companies are going to look at the success that Skybound has had, and they're going to be like, you know what? We want some of that too. What do we have to do? Oh, just make the characters like themselves and don't turn anybody gay or trans for no reason. Okay, we can do that. Sure, that's easy. Maybe hire some people that know what the fuck they're doing to write the comics and draw the comics. Yeah, we can do that. Sure, we can do that. That's relatively easy. It's actually easier to get it right than it is to get it wrong. That's what I don't understand. In comics, it's so much easier to get it right. What's this character actually historically been like? Okay, cool. Can you tell a good story with this character and work within those parameters? Okay, cool. That's all you got to do. It's not like in a lot of cases, these franchises, these legacy characters, it's not like you're making up something new, right? You just got to stick to the formula. What works? What do people expect Batman to be like? What do people expect Superman to be like? Here's a hint. They don't expect Superman to be sexting his boyfriend in the bathtub, his pink-haired boyfriend in the bathtub in Action Comics. They expect him to be fighting robots or shit, or Lex Luthor in a robot or something like that. That's what they expect from Superman. Transformers. They are robots that turn into cars. They do not have to talk about gender and gender ideology. That's literally it. Just give us a good comic about robots that turn into cars and they interact with the humans and they're maybe trying to strip mine the earth of its, energy. That's what we do. Megatron's trying to enslave the humans. Can we talk about that? I don't know. But that's all you got to do. Give us good stories with these characters. Make it exciting. Make them turn into cool shit. That's all you got to do. It's not hard. But apparently the comic book industry has lost the plot. We're going to talk about the sales. They're not good. but it looks like they're starting to get it. In fact, DC Comics announced that they're going to return to Wednesday for New Comic Book Day. Wow. Because retailers are probably like, yeah, this whole like distribution thing, it's killing our store. You know, it's killing our store. Now that's great, but the thing is, you know, if you're still getting shitty DC Comics every Wednesday, it doesn't matter, I guess, what day of the week that you release them. But anyway, let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. If you want the audio versions of Clownfish TV, go out to Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're all over the place. And we do have an audio version of Clownfish TV if you missed episodes or you want to take us on the go. We also have a gaming news podcast, and Derezzed is coming back, and that's the podcast where we have interviews and we talk at length more about technology and video games and even the paranormal. So that is going to be reactivating here pretty soon. So make sure you're subbed for that. But yeah, I went yesterday, and it seemed kind of subdued. Just the time I spent there, everybody seemed kind of subdued. I don't know if they were tired or they're depressed or what's going on, but ICV2 has this article that comics and graphic novel sales are down 8% in 2023. Imagine that. Graphic novels down more than periodicals. That is interesting. So sales of comics and graphic novels in the comic store channel, were down 8% in 2023. Well, we're probably down 8% in stores too. You know, if we're being honest, like I think we have fewer stores. With graphic novel sales down more than periodical comics, according to an ICV2 analysis of sales tracked at the point of sale by the Comic Hub system at stores selling American comics around the world. So that's, you got to take their word for it, right? Periodical comic book sales were down 5.8%, and graphic novel sales were down 11.9%. The moves are largely a result of the continued unwinding of trends driven by the COVID pandemic in 2021 and 2022, as consumers return to a more normal mix of at-home and out-of-home activities. And the collectibles fever broke. Kind of, yeah, maybe. Sales of comics and graphic novels likely crested in the first half of 2022, reported last year. No, I think people are still buying back issues. I think they're looking at the new stuff. I think they're looking at the new stuff and they're like, oh yeah, I want to get back into comics. And oh my God, why is Superman sexting his boyfriend? Why is Tim Drake gay now for Bernard? Like what the hell did I miss? This isn't anything like the movies. This isn't anything like the cartoon shows I remember. Like, what the hell is going on here? That's what I think probably happened. That, why is every mainstream comic now a Tumblr comic? Sales in comic stores remain well above where they were in 2019, though, before the COVID pandemic. New comic sales in stores were up 18% in 2023 compared to sales in 2019. Graphic novel sales were up 49%, and overall sales were up 29%. As has been the trend for some time, comic sales are not keeping pace with inflation, and graphic novels are driving the actual growth. During the period for which these reports were generated, there were over 125 stores using Comic Hub. So it's a very small sampling. It really is. It's a very small, non-random sample of over 3,000 stores. The change in sales may not be typical of all stores. Well, that's true. Wow. So here they have a whole nother article called Comic Publishers Killing Momentum, Quality Complaints, the Missing Young Adult Market. Wow. So these are comic retailers that were interviewed, and they're telling people what the problems are. Will publishers listen? Maybe they are. Maybe they're going to hear it in person at Comics Pro in Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh is a great place to go to find out what's actually going on in comics, because we actually have a lot of comic shops, and there's a huge audience for comic books here. I would say it's disproportionate to other metro areas. Like, we have a lot of comic book dorks here. I mean, we really do. We have a lot of nerds. We have a lot of toy collectors. A lot of fans of retro video games. Pittsburgh's definitely got it going on. If you're into those things, we have a lot of conventions, or had a lot of conventions in the area. Again, compared to the size of the town, right? Pittsburgh's not a massive city, but it is, I think, kind of disproportionate. I think you might get a very skewed idea of how healthy the comic book industry is, because there's like a bunch of shops in the Pittsburgh area, a bunch of conventions in the Pittsburgh area, it doesn't mean that Idaho's doing fine. You know what I'm saying? Because I was born about 3 hours from here. And the city I was born in, which is closer to Philadelphia, that particular city at one point had 4 or 5 comic shops in it. And I think it has 1 now. And the only reason they're surviving is they're selling tabletop games and back issues. And that's basically it. So this is what Graham Cracker said. They have 12 stores. Foot traffic's down. Less people are reading and collecting. Less people are speculating and investing. Overall sales are down 7.5%. DC's comics are down 12%. Marvel's are up 1%. That's interesting. Back issues down 3%. Coliseum of Comics is the one that Heidi McDonald said couldn't manage its pull list very effectively, and that's why they're not doing well. They have 11 stores in Florida. New Comics down 12%. New Comics now under 20% of chain-wide sales. I believe this one 100%. I believe this one. I know there's some stores that I shopped at for years, and they sent emails out, and they're like, we are not carrying New Comics because we can't move them. It's as simple as that. We're not taking the chance. We'll see what's hot, and then we'll pick it up, and we'll sell you the back issue at an inflated price, and we'll make a little bit of a profit. But we're not carrying the reboot of Squirrel Girl or where the hell is coming out because it just sits on the shelf. If you remove variants, leaving only A covers, Marvel is down 27% in a single year. Marvel dollars are down 13%. Back issues are stable. Bebop Comics, 2 stores in Kansas City Metro. Total sales down 15%. Graphic novel sales down 20%. New Comics down 10%. Back issues down 25%. Versus 2019, sales are up 11%. Comics Conspiracy, they have 1 shop, down 11% for 2023. Up 40% from pre-COVID numbers. Single issues still over 50% of sales. It's not good, guys. It's not good. So they got to do something, right? So, I mean, going back to Wednesdays, okay, that's a start. But please, let's make sure that the product that you're shipping on Wednesday is good. So this is the top 50 comics for the full year of 2023. Transformers #1. Okay, that's how bad things are. Transformers #1 was the top selling comic because it's one of the few comics out there that's not screaming politics in your face. It's one of the few comics out there that treats the characters like themselves. And that's all you got to do. Again, it's real easy to get this right. You know, it's not hard. Just make a Batman. Just make a Batman comic about Batman. Not, you know, what an awful person Batman is, or Batman's mommy issues with Catwoman, or whatever the fuck they're doing now. Give us a Robin comic. Not Robin and how he's just decided last week he's gay and his friend of many years, yeah, now he's got the hots for him. That's not what anybody wants to read. And they're going out on dates. Nobody wants to read that. Just give us the characters as themselves and you'll sell. Spider-Man 7, Void Rivals, Batman 135, also known as Batman 900. And fix the numbering too. Like, what the hell? Amazing Spider-Man 26. Shouldn't they be up to like issue 800 or some shit by now? Like 26, 17, 23. Ninja Turtles, Last Ronin. Yeah, I just like, this is embarrassing. And again, Transformers is a good book. Skybound's putting out good stuff. But it's embarrassing that this is the best that comics has to offer right now. I mean, it really is, because Transformers and G.I. Joe, as massive a hit as they were back in the day, they were never like the A-list comics. They were like, you know, licensed titles the kids would read, and they were good. I'm not saying they're not good, but it was never X-Men. It was never Spider-Man. And here we have Transformers beating Spider-Man just because it's competent. Go figure. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.